The most important thing is that the models are just going to get smarter, generally across the board. There'll be a lot of other things too which we can talk about, but if you think about what happened from GPT-3 to 3.5 to 4, it just got smarter.
Hey everyone, today we're diving into the world of AI.
Specifically, some really cool new features for ChatGPT.
You sent over this YouTube video.
Yeah.
And it looks like ChatGPT is finding his voice, literally.
So we'll be exploring this based on what we saw in the video transcript you shared.
Big news here is ChatGPT can talk back to you.
Not just in text, but with like actual synthesized voices.
Yeah, it really changes how we interact with AI now.
Imagine like just having a conversation with your computer that feels almost like talking to another person.
Right.
And it's not just one voice. The video shows all these different voice options.
Confident, cheerful, calm.
It's like having a whole team of AI personalities ready to, to talk to you.
And get this, these voices, they're available in multiple languages too.
English, Chinese, Japanese, Korean.
The video even shows them testing it out in Cantonese and Shanghainese.
Okay, that's impressive.
Let me know if you need to hear it again.
はい、ついに東京で新しいテクノロジー展示会が開催され、
Hey, 很高兴遇见。
Hey, 怎么了?
I'm already thinking about like all the possibilities just for language learning alone.
And for travel?
Imagine being able to ask ChatGPT for directions, but like in fluent Mandarin.
Or have it translate a menu, but in Japanese.
It'd be like having a personal translator right in your pocket.
But this whole voice thing, I mean, that can't be easy for AI to pull off.
You're right, there's a lot happening behind the scenes.
It uses a combo of advanced speech recognition.
That's how the AI processes what you're saying.
And natural language processing, NLP.
Okay.
And that's the part that helps computers understand like the meaning behind what we're saying. Then they can, respond in a way that makes sense.
So NLP is like the brains behind the operation.
It makes sure ChatGPT doesn't just repeat words, but like it actually gets what you mean.
Exactly, yeah.
And it's not just about the words themselves.
It's got to capture the nuance of human speech, the tone, the pauses.
Even things like inflection.
The video mentioned that they were trying to get ChatGPT to speak in different dialects.
And that's where things get really interesting.
Yeah, dialects and accents, those always seem like a whole other level of complexity.
How does an AI even begin to learn something like that?
It's all about data.
These language models, they're trained on huge, massive data sets of text and audio.
And the more diverse the data, the better they are at understanding, the different ways of speaking.
It's like learning a new language, right?
The more you're exposed to different accents, the easier it is to pick up on those things.
Okay, that makes sense.
But the video doesn't just stick to, chit-chat.
At one point, they asked ChatGPT to analyze the 2024 U.S. presidential election, like the impact on the global economy.
And they even throw in the whole Russia-Ukraine conflict, too.
Right, and it's a great example of how people are using these AI tools for more than just, casual conversation.
They're looking for deeper insights and analysis, maybe even predictions.
Which is amazing when you think about it.
But also maybe a little bit, scary.
Can we really rely on AI to be accurate about these kinds of complex issues?
That's the million-dollar question, right?
It's definitely something we should all be thinking about, especially as these technologies get even more advanced,
It's easy to get caught up in all the bells and whistles.
But it's important to remember that AI is still kind of in its early stages.
So we should take it all with a grain of salt.
Especially for the big picture stuff like global politics or the economy, right?
Exactly. ChatGPT can process information and make connections based on all that data.
But it doesn't have the same nuanced understanding of the world that we do.
Okay, so that's reassuring, I guess.
But it's still so cool to see how people are really pushing the boundaries of what AI can do.
Absolutely. And this video, it's like a snapshot of how fast this stuff is changing.
And it brings up a lot of exciting possibilities, but also some important questions.
Okay, so we talked about how this voice interaction works.
We even touched on some of the bigger implications for, like society and stuff.
But there's still so much more to unpack. This voice feature, though.
It's not just for like chatting or, getting information.
The video actually shows how people are using this for creative stuff.
Like, wait for it.
Turning a guitar.
Right.
It's amazing.
There's a point where ChatGPT is giving feedback in real time.
On the tuning for each string, it just blew me away.
I know, me too.
It makes sense in a way, right?
Like AI analyzing sound waves.
But it's one thing to, have it write a song.
And another to have it help you play it, too.
It really shows you how this could be used for, like, all sorts of creative problem solving.
Especially, in the future.
Okay, so ChatGPT can analyze sound,
Understand and respond to, complicated questions.
mimic languages and accents.
Is there anything this AI can't do?
Well, it is still under development.
There are limitations.
Okay, like what?
Well, remember in the video how they tried to get ChatGPT to speak Shanghainese?
Yeah,
And it seemed to kind of struggle.
exactly. As good as these language models are.
Certain dialects and accents are still tough.
I guess it's like with any language.
Some regional variations are just harder to pick up.
Precisely.
And it really highlights something important here, too.
Even with all the advancements in AI.
We still don't fully understand how language works.
So those moments where the AI kind of slips up?
Those are actually good for the developers.
Yeah, absolutely. Each mistake.
It's an opportunity to improve everything.
Make the algorithms better and really hone in on, the nuances of human speech.
So it's like watching a kid learn a new language
They might mispronounce things,
or, mess up the grammar at first.
but eventually they get there.
That is a great analogy.
And the more ChatGPT is exposed to different languages,
Different accents, different dialects.
the better it's going to get.
That makes me think about something else they mentioned.
The whole global political landscape.
I mean, we've got ChatGPT analyzing elections now.
Talking about international conflicts,
It's a lot.
it really is a lot to wrap your head around.
It really is.
And it brings up these questions about the role of AI,
How we understand the world.
like what? Imagine if people rely on AI, like ChatGPT, to break down complex geopolitical issues,
That could really impact how we consume information.
how we even form our own opinions.
That's true, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, is it?
No, not at all.
It could be incredibly beneficial.
It could make things easier to understand for everybody.
Imagine asking ChatGPT to break down a trade agreement.
Or explain a conflict, but in simple terms.
It could be huge for how we access information.
That's a good point.
But there's also the potential for, misuse, too.
Absolutely. As with any powerful tool,
There's always that risk.
that it could be used for bad.
Okay, yeah.
So it's not just about, the cool new features.
But also thinking about the ethics of it all, too.
Exactly. We need to have these conversations now.
Not later, once these technologies are everywhere.
It's a lot of responsibility.
But it's exciting at the same time.
It really is.
And ultimately, it's on us.
To make sure that this is all used for good.
Okay, so
We talked about the creative possibilities,
we talked about the challenges.
even some of the ethical dilemmas.
Let's bring it back to our listener for a second.
What does this all mean for, the average person?
How is this going to change our lives?
That's the big question, right?
And I don't know if we can predict the future or anything.
But I think it is safe to say that this is going to change how we live,
How we work.
how we interact with the world.
Okay, like how?
Okay, like how?
Well, imagine getting instant answers
On any question,
in any language.
just by asking,
Okay,
here's a recipe.
curious about a historical event.
Want to learn something new?
ChatGPT could be your go-to.
Like having a walking encyclopedia.
Exactly. And it's not just about the information,
It's about how we,
how we use technology in general.
look at how much voice assistants have already changed things.
How we use our phones.
Our smart homes.
Yeah.
Now apply that to something like ChatGPT.
And we're talking a total revolution.
Customer service, education, even entertainment. It's a lot when you really think about it.
But I gotta ask.
Are we going to become too reliant on AI
Are we gonna lose our ability to think for ourselves?
to problem solve?
Or even just have a conversation without an AI listening in?
I get it.
Those are real concerns.
And we do have to be mindful.
But I'm optimistic too.
I think these tools, they can empower us.
Help us connect with each other
Okay.
in new ways.
Imagine talking to someone across the world.
No language barriers.
Or totally personalized learning.
Tailored to you.
I mean, that's the thing with technology, right?
Yeah, it's how we use it.
Exactly.
It could be good or bad.
It depends, I guess.
It's all about balance.
We embrace the possibilities.
But we keep an eye on the risks too.
And those conversations, they're so important.
Talking about this stuff.
It's how we figure out the future.
Well said. Well said.
Knowledge is power, as they say.
And I feel like we've learned a lot about ChatGPT.
Not just, the cool features,
But the bigger picture.
what it means for all of us.
It's been a good conversation.
It really has. It really has.
But on that note,
We'll leave everyone with something to think about.
as AI evolves,
And it's only going to get more integrated into our lives.
What role do you see it playing in your future?
What excites you?
What worries you?
Let us know.
And until next time.
Keep those minds curious, folks.